scenario where civilization starts over. Let's get into it. This is season 2, episode 29 of the series, and we can get right into it. So, last episode, we saw many things happen, such as the start of two pretty large wars. First large war that happened is based on this. Look beneath these. Well, basically, the Persians kind of betrayed India, and well, they teamed up with the Anatolian Union and these two other countries here, and now these nations are going to fight against the Mesopotamians and the Indians, which might be hard. But also another war started over here between the Holy French Empire and the Yellow Team Religious Alliance. But also a huge split happened in Italy. Well, Italy kind of got betrayed by the Holy French Empire because these Baltic nations here surrendered to the Holy French Empire, and Italy didn't like that, so they started invading them and their former ally, which is interesting. Let's get into the episode now. And if we go to the ideology map, whoa, that's why. Yeah, Italy's a dictatorship now. And now we have the Italian Empire. And let's actually start with this conflict over here. Let me get the layers on. Starting with seeing the Indians and forces over into Persia, going ahead and taking some pretty vital coastlines here, which do have some trade routes on them. Yeah. And while these trade routes are still pretty decently important, kinda, and countries do still want to control them. So the Indians are gonna have their main focus down south, as this is where their trade routes are, and also where their capital is. But they'll also be having some forces up north, as they have a goal to go through here and take some lands, these trade routes, as these are some of the most important trade routes here, as they connect Europe, Africa, the Middle East, and Asia, all through Central Asia. So they will also be sending some forces through there, along this river, and getting close to it. The Russian Union is still going to be able to push back as they take this major city here. Here we're going to be seeing the Anatolian Union and its forces over into Mesopotamia, and very quickly Mesopotamia is going to lose, badly, lose the capital to the Persian Union's reserve forces, and Mesopotamia very quickly, which is still a top power in the world, but being compared to the Anatolian Union and Persia, will be very quick to fall, as the Mesopotamians, well, are kind of gone now. Yeah. Wait, did Egypt do something? Oh yeah, they did something over here. Let's go back to this situation over here. And then I think I can turn off trade routes for this. I'm seeing the Polish rebellion continue to be successful. They can take more northern areas, but the Polish government is going to be able to retake its capital city. Italian invasion over here, it's going to be very successful as they go ahead and capture this major city and another landing in here, connect here, and even capture the capital city of Algeria. Algerians still keep fighting, and the Egyptians will continue to push back or push in as they take another major city right here. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, Egypt did this. Italians will be able to push back against Egypt not only here, but also over here. This is what the front lines look like so far. And actually, the Italians will be going ahead and continue to push back and take another major city and will be doing a lot of damage. Let's go to the religious map now, as the Italian dictator is kind of spreading his religion a lot. And he's just kind of be casually going up here and, doing stuff. And now these guys are supposed to be his religion. Yeah, he's not doing very good things. Yeah, his religion, this dictator's religion, has sort of grown to a decent size. I wonder why. Well, let's get back to the fighting. As we're going to be seeing the Holy French Empire actually start to focus on the Italians, as they've already made the deal with the Baltic nations here, and Germanists will only be sending a bit more forces over into here to occupy the territories they want to take back, as they believe that Poland is too weak right now to the rebellion, and they won't need to send many forces. So the French will actually start to push back against this dictator, and very quickly be able to go ahead and take this major city. And well, we're going to be seeing eventually pushed back and got back down to the Mediterranean Sea, which they've been wanting to get back into owning some of these lands for a long time now. Yeah. But now let's get into some other events around the world. Yeah. Wait, what should we do some of these events? Let's go up to Scotland. Because remember that meeting last episode that took place in this major city here? Well, see what T Lodge is about to happen. The meeting is done, and the leaders of the Scottish nations go back to their capital cities. In a few days after this, as the countries of North Scotland and South Scotland unite into one entity, an entity known as the Scottish Union. The Scottish nations have united, forming one large power in the world. And now people know what that meeting was actually about. The meeting was about the unification of Scotland and making it official. These two nations were already pretty united in many ways, but now they're officially united, and their alliance is even more powerful. The strength is more powerful as one. Their colonies are giants, and I should probably update this layer sometimes. I think I should just remove some of these lines now. There. Looks a bit better. Yeah. And basically, these areas are united into one. The unity is complete. The pact is fully done. And people start to wonder, like, why? But it was kind of obvious. Like, they were already in a military alliance together. They have colonies everywhere. They work together in wars. So many countries were actually expecting this, but some countries go by surprise. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Going down to Italy, we're going to be seeing them pushing back against France as they go ahead and make a massive spearhead towards this major city and quickly go ahead and capture it. Which is interesting. Yeah. Let's go back over to this front line here. So we're going to be seeing the Persians actually push back the Indians over here as they sent all the forces that went to Mesopotamia over here to, well, the Indian front. And this will bring costs as the Indians have had a huge focus up north, as they know that the Persians will have a huge focus on the south, as that's where their main government is. Yeah. They also focus up here, as the Persians have two capitals. Yeah. Eventually, this thing is going to go ahead and continue to push back. The Indians will be capturing more of the trade routes here, but they still actually do have some trouble controlling it due to the fact that it's just kind of a line. They kind of want Central Asia, but the thing is, Central Asia is in Russia's military alliance, so they can't get Central Asia. So India's mad because they can't get Central Asia, which is what they want, but well, you kind of already control a giant empire and Tanzania, so yeah. Speaking of Tanzania and colonies and stuff like that, let's get back to this colony. This Tanzanian colony is going to quickly become a pretty large success, and it's going to start to spread up to this river here, as they fully surround it, and even start to directly border the Somali nation, which, if Egypt says, hey India, why are you doing that? And India's like, it's our land. We claimed it first, so I think we should be allowed to own it. And Egypt is like, we discovered it. And why are you kind of threatening our ally? Yeah. And India's just not going to respond, and rivalry continues as the colony is going to actually expand all the way to the southern bit of Tanzania over here, and the colony will look something like this. Now, expansion of these areas, as we're going to be seeing the Indians go ahead and do massive explorations over here. Yeah. And the explorations will look not as big as some others, still decent in size. Here to the Western Australian colony, or like settlement, we're seeing stuff happen as well. Yeah, this thing kind of has people in it, and I kind of already said colony, so we already know what's gonna happen. Going to be seeing the Indians, not surprisingly, make an Australian colony. Yeah, very unsurprising. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, very, very interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Let's go over here to Madagascar. We're going to be seeing Madagascar go ahead and the little humans go ahead and continue to explore. As the Indians are also going to make their little colonial settlement here in Madagascar. Yeah. And the Indians are starting to stretch pretty far. As they stretch all the way from southern Kazakhstan all the way down to Western Australia, Madagascar, and Tanzania, which is pretty far. But also, why are you here? What? Why are the Indians down south over in Vietnam's territorial space? Yeah. Oh, they made an expedition. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's interesting. So these islands are being claimed by India. Very interesting. And why is India expanding so much recently? Yeah, I don't know. And oh, yeah, that's interesting. India has a dictatorship now, just like the ideological switch over here in Italy. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, let's go to Japan now. That's going to be seeing the Koreans go ahead and invade Japan. Korea, knowing that one of the stronger nations in the world, as the invasion goes successful, as the Koreans will quickly take the capital city of the Hokkaido nation. Yeah, and quickly delete it off the map. And well, the hostilities are starting to sort of become apparent of Korea and the Japanese Isles. So we are going to be seeing these nations form an official military alliance, which I'll just use a down arrow for, because there's no better shapes. Yeah. And this military alliance is going to be solely for the defense of Japan against solely Korea, but maybe even also China. Well, speaking of China, China is finally recovering from the crisis. Yeah, they're finally recovering from it. The immigration crisis, where people are just leaving. They're finally recovering it, and they might start to rival countries like India and Egypt very soon. And the reason I mention this is because China's going to go ahead and start their invasion of this nation. After Chinese forces will quickly enter it, and goals of the nation is to just take the trade routes in the northern parts of it. That's all they really want. They don't really want this little coast. They feel it as useless compared to like this Vietnamese coast here. So they will quickly make a treaty with this nation. Treaty the war, and the capital is moved from down there to here, to this city down here, and the Chinese annex this land, and this nation is pretty small now, and it's kind of worried. So, what's it gonna do that it's worried about its existence? Well, the better thing to do is to, join that. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, very much makes sense. Let's go back over here to Europe, or Eurasia, I can call it, yeah. As the Polish Rebellion is going to continue to be very successful as it captures the capital of Poland, Lithuania, and start to ravage the southern bits of the nation. And while Hungary is going to decide to betray their ally and go ahead and invade them. Yeah, that's interesting. As this rebellion is going to just the Polish government, the Lithuanian government, became from the fourth strongest nation in the world, I believe. Yeah, fourth strongest. All the way down to one of the weakest. Still a little bit of a siege of the capital. This rebellion is going. The government here is going to surrender over to the rebellion. And while all that they now have to focus on is Italy. But the rebellion is no, an invasion is gonna happen over here as Egypt takes that. Interesting. Yeah. Algerians are actually going to decide to really push back the the Italians, yeah, and a few rebellions will start to pop up around the Italian Empire in their main territories. This rebellion wants to bring back a democracy, yeah, and this rebellion wants to bring a monarchy that is actually loyal to their allies and their religion, yeah. And because of these rebellions, the dictator is going to be forced to bring his people, or soldiers, out of the Slovenian territory in order to take his lands back. But the dictator is over here, so messages, but not kind of gone through. But he's kind of trapped here in this major city. Yeah, and the dictator here kind of dies. Very interesting. French will go ahead and continue to push back and take huge lands from the northern parts of this nation. Slovenians will even start to push in, as they will go ahead and take parts of the coastlines themselves. And while this part of the peninsula over here is going to fall away, and I think I could get a little bit of a better color. This is interesting. You haven't seen this in a long time. Iberia is going to rebel. Yeah, just a random line color. Yeah. As the Iberian rebellion is going to go ahead and capture these islands, and the Algerians will go ahead and continue to push back. And while a deal is going to be signed with Egypt, Algeria can get some lands over here, gains from Italy over here, but the Egyptians will get some of this land here. And the Algerians accept that as, well, it's Egypt. The second strongest nation in the world, and you don't really want to do much against them. Yeah. So, yeah, the Italian rebellion is going successfully, and the Egyptians will also push back, and the Italian dictatorship is collapsing, and the Italian empire is what wanted to be a great empire, but it's collapsing, and, what are you doing here? The Scottish. Okay, the Scottish just freed Sicily and immediately let it go? And I guess Egypt is taking it now? That's very interesting. Democratic and monarchist rebellions are going to quickly go ahead and capture these territories. And well, yeah, the empire here has collapsed. But well, let's look at the peace treaty of this little mini giant conflict here. Peace treaty of this mini conflict thing here that happened. Yeah. If we can see, if I can get the old borders up, or roughly what they look like, we can see that the French give, or you can sort of see, wait, let me just erase this real quick. We can see the French annexed this land here from the Italians. The Iberians gained their independence over here, and Algeria gains 2 Italian, spots here. If you can't see it with the layers because I haven't updated them yet, but the Egyptians do annex this little piece of land here from Algeria. They also annex this land, this southern Italian land, and this land from Italy, and a new Corsican nation is released via the proposal of Scotland. Yeah. Slovenia annexes this piece of northern Italy, and the north and south of Italy are split. The Italian Republic is monarchist, and the southern Democratic Republic, the Southern Italian Democratic Republic, if you can't tell by the name, is democratic. Wow. Yeah. The dictatorship is gone and the Roman Empire is dead. Yeah. Going north, we are going to be seeing the Germanicus have gotten back a lot of their previous land, as they now have the same border as before. But yeah, kind of. I'm not sure about the south. Station here also annexed this piece of land. Yeah. This little gray pocket got split out of Lithuania. The Hungarians who betrayed the Polish Lithuanians actually got land for it. Specifically this southern land here and this land, which is not too well for them as they didn't get any major cities. But also the Polish rebellion gained its independence and joins the Holy French Empire. Yeah, that's interesting. But let's finish up this thing over here. So we're going to be seeing the Persians continue to push back. The Indians will actually start to do a major push into here. As are starting to make propagandist movements over here that are successful and start to push back. this area. And eventually we are going to be seeing the Indians actually get a lot of lost forces, but actually a ceasefire will be proposed. Well, Mesopotamia is allowed to exist, and also India gets the occupied land. And let's look at this ceasefire here. The ceasefire results in India annexes some northern provinces here, specifically these three. Yeah, these three. And also the Indians annex a bunch of useful provinces in the south of Persia. But going over here, they do lose an ally, Mesopotamia, as Mesopotamia loses a bunch of land to the Anatolian Union and the Persians, but they do join the Union alliance. Yeah, which is making Persia's borders look a bit interesting. Yeah, I might want to fix this. So this makes the Union alliance seem more popular, as well. Basically, it kind of defeated the strongest nation in the world to an extent. Yeah. And some nations over here are going to decide to join the alliance, such as the Bulgarian nation and Ukraine. Yeah. And even Caucasia, as they will also join the Union alliance. Yeah. But Russia doesn't like the Union's alliance expansion, so they're going to go out on an expedition or sort of journey or war in order to go ahead and gain some land and resources to combat against this alliance and just their enemies around them. So quickly the Russians will send their forces over into this nation here, very quickly taking its capital city, and well, this thing just gets run over in a few days, so it kind of just surrenders like that. Yeah, it's pretty easy to defeat small nations. Yeah. But going over to Romania, we're actually going to be seeing the two previous anarchist Romanian states decide to unite into one. They want to unite into one in order to kind of sort of protect against their enemies, as they kind of, or just everything around them. There's a lot of stuff going on around them with the Yellow Team Religious Alliance fighting, and also the Anatolian Union and stuff like that. There's a lot going on with them. So they're wanting to unify together and to sort of, like, well, be more protected. Yeah, and fight together, yeah. Going over here, we're actually going to be seeing this little state deciding to join the Germanicist state. And it seems like the Germanicist state is starting to grow again. But also, through some little wiring stuff that happens, this little piece of land here is bought by the Germanicists from Britain, from the British Union. But also, the French are starting to pressure the British in order to give them this piece of land here. Yeah, the French want this. And they wanted to unify their once great French Empire. Which sort of makes sense. Yeah. But let's go up north here, specifically to the economic alliances layer, as we're seeing these Scandinavian nations decide to not only make their own economic alliance, but also join the Scottish Economic Alliance. This is going to be I think Circle's a bit better, Circle Economic Alliance, and it's going to be formed from the three Scandinavian nations here, but also one of them is going to join the Scottish Economical Alliance. And the Scottish Union's Economical Alliance is also going to become decently popular, as the Iberians and both Italian nations will actually decide to join it. Wait, there was a Right Triangle Economical Alliance? Oh yeah, there was. That's the Holy European Empire. But well, let me just remove them from that. Yeah. Yeah, there's what's going on, and anything else? Let's go and do a little bit of an update in the Americas. As we're going to be seeing the Mexicans do their invasion of the blue team here. And the goal is to unite the entire Mexican theater. And we want to sort of go ahead and get some lands in Texas in the future, as they do see Texas as a threat. Texas claims this little piece of territory here, like this piece, but Mexico occupies it. Let's see, is the Mexicans will be able to fully annex this blue nation and integrate it into its territory, and the new Mexican territory will be looking something like this. Yeah, but also if we go look down south to this area, we are going to be seeing a union form between the Yucatan country and Mexico. Not that the Mexicans don't annex the entire ocean. Yeah. While this union is formed, and Mexico might now become a top 10 power in the world. Who knows what could happen though in the future? And they're even offering up to Hawaii to join the union. Yeah. And that's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed today's scenario where civilization started over. See you next episode, where it's episode 30 of the series. And bye!